Welcome to the Founder Podcast, where we explore the journeys of some of the most successful and inspiring entrepreneurs from around the world. I'm your host, Chris Lee, a serial entrepreneur with a passion for building and growing businesses. Throughout my career, I founded multiple nine-figure businesses and learned a thing or two about what it takes to succeed in the world of business. I want to share those lessons with you by searching out the coolest guests on planet Earth and have them share their own incredible stories. But this podcast, it's not just for entrepreneurs. It's for anyone that's looking to be inspired by these stories of people who have overcome incredible odds and create something truly remarkable. So join me on this journey as we explore the fascinating world of entrepreneurship and meet the founders that are shaping it today. Let's dive in. Welcome to the show. Today I am joined by Mr. Grant Cardone. As many of you guys know, Grant owns several different businesses. He's been the founder of all kinds of really cool things. He owns a private equity real estate firm, Cardone Capital, has a multifamily portfolio worth of over $4 billion. He's raised over $1 billion through social media platforms, through crowdfunding. He's also been featured on season 2 of Discovery Channel's Undercover Billionaire. He's got New York Times bestsellers with the 10X rule and written several different books. He has such a cool story, and we're going to jump into it today and get to know Grant a little bit more. Welcome to the show, Mr. Grant.
Chris, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man, excited to have you. So, Grant, dude, you're 65 years old, and, based off of what I know about you, what I've read about you, the books I've read, a lot of your success and career has happened in the last 10 to 15 years. Like what changed over the last 10, 15 years? I know you had a lot of success early on. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah. So, short story on a long story is I was successful the first, I guess, from 25 till 50. I was fairly successful, but it was just a lot of hard work and saving money and, being disciplined and not doing dumb stuff. I was listening to an interview with Charles Munger and Warren Buffett this morning. And like 2 or 3 times they talked about just avoid the dumb stuff, and don't do stupid stuff. From 15 years old to 25, I was doing dumb stuff every day. 25, I quit doing the dumb stuff. And from 25 to 50, I did no dumb stuff. I did everything very conservative, saved my money, paid off my debts, but I also didn't take any scalable risk.
Right.
I didn't I was in the game, but not really.
Keep going. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So at age 50, like what was your net worth at age 50? So I know you had success and you'd done about, what was your net worth around that time?
Man, I should go pull a little balance sheet up from I guess that would be 2008. We're going into a collapse.
Right.
So 2008, before this thing actually happened, I was probably worth at that time, let me see, I had 600 units. No, I had 236 units, a grocery store, a land development deal in La Jolla, and I had the automotive business and the seminar business, and maybe I was worth, I don't know. This is before the collapse, maybe 6 million.
Yeah,
maybe 8 million.
So which was healthy, right? Like that was nice.
Yeah,
you're doing some cool things.
But Chris, the collapse happened.
Right.
And then so that 6 or 8 or 10, whatever it was, it floats with real assets. They're floating all the time, right?
Right.
My first business it had income, but it had no value. My second business had income and a little bit of value until 2008 fully extinguished it. And then because that second business was dependent upon car dealers and half of them went out of business, and the guy didn't ever want to exit. He was a partner in business. He had no exit plans. He just wanted income forever, which is a terrible idea, by the way. But some people do it. Yeah. So then the real estate gets frozen in 2008, 9, and 10.
Right.
So by the time the collapse happens, I'm probably worth a couple of million.
Jeez. So 2010, 2011, you're worth a couple million. if I recall, 2011, you write the book, The 10X Rule, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What would you say like was like a big turning point from going from worth a couple million to now worth hundreds of millions, right? Like your last 12 years have been freaking just phenomenal. Like what was the big turning point?
Well, what it was definitely thinking. It was definitely adding people, and ultimately it was probably about $7 billion. So
$7 billion.
yeah, we have we've never done an exit, and the income producing companies outside of real estate, they're probably and they're sellable today.
Right.
Whereas that first company was never exitable. Somebody would find value in this company. It's a basically negative capital intensive, and they're got to be worth $3 billion today. The real estate's worth
awesome.
heavy capital costs in the real estate. It's worth $4 billion. The Cardone Capital that manages the real estate is worth something.
Right.
And
so take me back.
We've done probably. Yeah, go ahead.
So take me back to like middle of the crash, right? So you're worth a couple million bucks, right? You're 50 years old or just after 50. Like what's going through your mind? Like what decision did you make at that point that catapulted you to this amazing success?
Yeah, well, what was going through my mind was, and this may sound ridiculous to people, but I'm like, I am fucked, and I fucked up. And like for those of you who don't understand what that concept is, like I had worked for 26 years and saw my entire net worth over a weekend when Lehman collapsed go from, dude, I was good, and then all of a sudden I wasn't good.
Right.
And this is why I wrote the 10X rule. The 10X rule is basically a concept about we set goals and targets, and we find places of comfort that are too small. They don't have, insurance for the average American today. Like if you have 3 months of savings, you think you're good. You're not good. Okay. You don't need 3 months of savings. You need assets that save you for 30 years.
Cash flow.
And unfortunately, the financial planning in this country and the financial illiteracy and the indoctrination and the popularity of these financial gurus telling you guys to pay your debt off and to basically have 3 months of savings is ridiculous, because millions of people, tens of millions of people lost their homes in 2008 and have never recovered from it.
Right.
And so the first thing that changed was I realized I was like that I had fucked up. And
so
that
you took personal accountability, right? You're like, this is not on anybody else. This is on me.
This ain't a team deal, bro. Like I watched the Celtics get their ass whipped last night. And then one of the players was like, yeah, we just didn't play as a team. Bro, first thing you got to say is you fucked up. You got to say, I messed up. And then, by the way, if you mess up, the team's going to mess up. In my case, I didn't have a team, right? It was me and a couple of people. That's not a team. That's a group, a small, tiny group. Basically, Three Musketeers. Three Musketeers didn't do anything great ever. And you need an army, man. So, so first thing I did was, I screwed up here when I thought I was good. Second thing is, I got to realize what did I do wrong? I have to figure out what is the thing I did wrong. I identified that, and what I did wrong was I went too small. So when I wrote the 10X rule, when I wrote that book you showed, or talked about, I'm like, I get it. I needed 10 industries. I had one company that paid me money. I had one industry that paid me, two companies that basically could go out and get it, and then I dumped it into the real estate. The two businesses were both slaughtered. I mean, slaughtered, bro. Like one day they were doing great. The next day they literally could not pay bills.
Right.
And I was not part of the mortgage crisis. I had nothing to do with the mortgage crisis. I did not buy a bunch of houses. The 200 units that I had actually in the shopping center actually cash flowed me through the collapse.
Wow.
So when I wrote this book was not really written for other people. I was literally trying to figure out what am I going to do to get a bigger audience? How am I going to scale to other industries?
Right.
So
Yeah.
back then
Yeah.
we talked to one industry every day, and which was automotive. And today, automotive was literally 100% of all my revenue. Today, automotive is less than 1% of my revenue.
It's amazing. Yeah, I think in your book, Be Obsessed or Be Average, you actually refer to the 10x rule, that it was kind of like your personal manifesto. Basically, it was a rule book that you were writing for yourself that you wanted
Yeah,
to live by,
yeah,
and so I think that's so awesome, and I think it's important for just listeners and whatnot to understand that like nobody's got to figure it out, even if we write it and think we have it figured out. Like we really all have to go and do the work, and so you wrote the book and then you started basically living the book.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
so I look, you don't have it figured out until you figure it out, and then once you figure it out, people should document what works so they can pass it on to other people. And that's all
Yeah.
we were doing. Cardone University was originally created as a documentation of what was working for me so I could share it with other people. Yeah, I'd
Right.
love to sell that product. We're creating a product right now. I'm in the health business. I just started the health business. We're documenting every single thing we do in writing and in video in hopes that, one, it holds us accountable.
Right.
Two, when I play it out in video and I'm like, did that work or not work? And then three, because I'm going to sell that as a product because I'm going to make it work. Okay. You can't
Right.
sell products that don't taste good.
Right.
So when you go, if you make cookies, like this is how all cookies recipes have been made. Like people that get in the lasagna business or the cooking business, somebody comes to Annie and says, "Oh my God, you should have these cookies in stores." Why? Because they taste good. So that's what we do with all our products. Cardone University, this healthcare thing that we're going to do, we're going to show people how to fill retail spaces up. So like dentistries, chiropractors, I'll go in, we'll do it, we'll make an experiment of it, we'll video it while we're doing it, and then I'll have a third product that basically comes out of that. It'll make the company better, and then we have this product that comes out of that where other people want to grow their business in the same way. So that's what I was doing
Yeah.
with the 10X when it became a book. And
It's awesome. Yeah, I think the big thing is like you live all your products, right? You live your real estate, you live your sales coaching, your health, right? You're 65 years old, man. You look like you're freaking, you're running around like you're 30,
yeah,
which is
thank you.
freaking awesome. I love that. I love that, man. I aspire. I'm 39 years old, so I aspire when I'm 65, 70 that I got the same energy you got. So
Oh, thank
pretty
you.
pretty awesome. But man, it's been really cool. I've actually seen your journey from very. You did your first conference down in, I think it was in Cancun.
Yeah,
When was it? 2012 or 2013? What year was that?
man, I don't
13,
remember when it was, but I remember how many people were there. There was only like
30
maybe
or 40,
60
right?
people or something, 60 or 70 people there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I actually sent a couple of my sales reps down there. My brother was down at your first conference, and just watching that, and then just morph into what 10x Con is now is has been kind of fun to watch and be a sideline viewer and seeing all the action that you're taking, and then watching you build this real estate empire. Because 200 units, respectable, but now fast forward $4 billion worth of real estate assets. That's phenomenal, man. Just applaud you. What are like some daily habits, daily routines that you have that you've been able to use that have compounded over the last 15, 20 years?
Well, the most important one is waking up, man, making sure you wake up, ideally wake up when you say you're going to wake up, because that's where it all goes downhill from there. Like make a decision when you're going to go to sleep at night and when you're going to wake up. I was talking to Tom Brady about this. I mean, he controls what time he goes to bed, right? So that's when he controls when he puts himself down. And if I'd have known that when I was a kid, 17, 18 years old, I wouldn't have gotten 90% of the trouble that I got in. I would have never gotten in trouble because everything bad happened to me after 9 o'clock.
Right,
Like almost nothing bad happened to me during the day.
Right.
So one, pick a time to go to sleep, boom, go down, get a good night of rest.
Yep.
Rest is really important. I was watching something Elon was talking about the other day about it. He's got to get 6 hours less than that. He's getting less done during the day. And I know a lot of people out there are pitching 4 a.m. in the mornings. And that might be good for training, physical training or hunting or some other stuff that you're doing. But in business, man, I need to be clear. I need rest. As you age, you're going to need more rest. I had a shoulder injury recently, so I'm actually trying to get more sleep right now, not less, to recuperate from that. Sometimes it takes longer as you get older. So one, I wake up in the morning, dude, rested. Two, the second thing I want to do is I want to go get a workout in. Third thing, I want to get my recovery time in. Like I had to add some things as things change, as life changes, you add stuff. So then I come to the office and, somebody tells me what to do for the rest of the day. There's one thing that I do in there that's a ritual that every morning I get I think I got it. Yeah. I've looked at this thing so often now that every morning I get a report of where our cash accounts are, every cash account that we have.
KPIs.
Say again?
You got those KPIs, the key performance indicators coming in, the cash accounts.
Yeah. That's more of just more than a KPI. It's in this case, it's I want to see where the dough is. And there might be. I've been doing this for a long time now. I remember doing this when the account was zero. And my goal, by the way, is to get the account to zero. So I'm going to look at my cash accounts and I'm going to look at assets that I'm moving cash into.
Right.
Because what I'm trying to do is accumulate assets, not cash.
Right. Yeah, cash is cash is trash, as you say. So I'm with you on that.
The ultimate solution is if I can actually play this game of accumulating cash to move to an asset and stay in broken cash. What actually happens if you're buying the right kind of asset, you can never not have cash.
Right.
So it's a crazy kind of phenomenon. Like I'm literally trying to get rid of cash. If I buy the right asset, I end up with more cash than I end up with a cash problem.
So you wake up early, you get good rest by going to bed at night. You have a good morning routine. You take a look at your cash balance. Awesome. So you have all this. I know you also have a pretty awesome family life. Like your wife Elena, she's definitely kind of like your rock, your foundation. Like 100. What are some best practices that you put into place for your wife and your two daughters and making sure that you have a good foundation there?
Yeah. So, my wife and I actually sat down this morning because I'm in a place in my life where I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's next? Like, how do I go to next?
Right.
And so we sat down this morning and, I said, baby, I got to figure out. And if you guys ever if you get lucky enough to get a wife like I have, man, you've hit the freaking ultimate, that is the ultimate thing. Having
your wife is partner, awesome. I have a pretty awesome partner as well. So I think that's foundational to being successful just in anything in life. So is just
picking the right partners, the right friends, the right wife, again, man, stay away from stupid.
Right.
So I had plenty of stupid, I could have done a lot of stupid in my life that I've avoided. Sometimes you need to count the stuff you avoid doing too, Chris. So anyway, this morning, my wife and I just literally sat down and said, I got to figure out the next thing, because I'm like, okay, it's like, what's the game now?
Right. Wow. Yeah, because you're never satisfied. You're always looking for something to get out of bed for, right? Like to be excited about. So
I had one more building. Okay, I had one. What am I doing and why am I doing it? So she says, let's just play a game. Okay. She says, what if you 10x the income of the company now? And I said, okay, then we go from 150 million a year in the internet sales and 340 in real estate income. To what would that be? 5 billion a year.
Right. That's a big deal.
I'm like, man, 5 billion a year. I don't need all that money. The first thing I did was I do exactly what everybody else does. You stretch the rubber band and wants to go back to its old size.
Right. Yep.
I'm like, what do I need $5 billion for? I don't need $5 billion. Now I got to pay $3 billion in taxes. I only got $2 billion left over. What am I going to do with $2 billion? I don't need that. She's like, play the game, Grant. Play the game. And I'm literally like, why do it? But then when I start playing it, I'm like, okay, what would I do? I would definitely buy a yacht. I'd buy a $300 million yacht. I'd waste $30 million a year on it. I'd go buy a big ranch that I go to once or twice a year. And then I start thinking about, okay, what would I do with this thing? And I would expand. I would take a bunch of money and expand. I'd probably take some risk on some AI technology stuff to add to our 10X health system and see if we could scale that worldwide. So it typically what happens for me is in that doing that exercise, it just kind of resonates with me and starts to kind of work itself because I'm still thinking about it 5 hours later now.
Right. You get yourself out of that comfort zone because exactly like you said, when you stretch your rubber band, everything wants to go back to it. But then you start, okay, like how can I get comfortable in that stretched out state? Like what is possible? Like you start dreaming, you start scheming. I love it.
Yeah.
So good, man.
Yeah. And
So
then I'm like, oh, how much money would I give to charity? Oh, I give $10 million to my favorite charity every month.
So amazing. And you're building you have a Cardone Foundation, right? In which you guys you focus on financial literacy for kind of underprivileged and whatnot. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, Grant Cardone Foundation. The focus of that, and we have some latitude, but is to help kids that are in situations maybe without a father like I had, but mostly in situations where they don't have opportunity. They're being miseducated, don't have mentorship, guidance, no financial literacy. They're in school systems. They're being forced to listen to some school classroom teacher that they don't want. We just had pit bulls. What's that called? Slam. His whole school came over to our office today. We're collaborating on.
Amazing.
His kids were tripping today. 15-year-old kids don't look like me. They don't have the opportunities that my kids have, and they were here to learn about money, finance, marketing, business, and you can tell.
It's so amazing. I think that's one of the greatest causes that anybody can undertake because the financial literacy of United States of America, the world is insane, right? Like we don't teach it in schools, we don't teach it anywhere, and it's guys like yourself and myself that it's up to us to like get it out to those people, and I think it's phenomenal what you're doing.
Poverty is a disease.
Amen.
Poverty is a disease more deadly than COVID, heart disease, and cancer combined.
Oh, absolutely, man. So if you could do it all over again, Grant, right? So you're 65 years old. If you could do it all over again, what would you do different?
I wouldn't go to college. I would never spend 1 second on drugs, any kind of drugs. From 15 until probably 45, I would have left all women alone. I would not have taken a bullshit test about what I'm good at. My mom had me take a test. I think she spent $1,600 on that test that said I should be an accountant.
Oh gosh.
And I would study. I would study where money's going. I would study where people are going, where eyeballs are going, where so those are some things I would not do again. I would avoid all the losers, dude. If I went to college, I would only probably go to 3 or 4 or 5 colleges, and I would only go there for the hookups, like to meet the power players. I would have become a golfer probably. I would have learned how to golf because there's money at golf clubs.
Yep.
Maybe not. Maybe I didn't probably need to do the golf thing, but
are you much of a golfer?
My mom wanted me to play golf she wanted me to take up the sport, and I wish I would have because I would have met a different group of people. If you could pay for golf, man, like.
So let me just tell you, it's not too late. My buddy Casey, he's the largest mobile home. They own 250 mobile home communities. And he does capital raising for all kinds of private companies and whatnot. He just took up golf 2 years ago to do exactly what you're talking about. And he went and got 11 different country club memberships. And his whole model is he gets in contact with guys and he's taking lessons and everything.
Yeah.
You're speaking the language, man. I mean, that it's so true. There's so much money on the golf course.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, yeah, but I would have needed to do that when I was young, because it would have got me around the male figures that I needed to be around.
Right.
Fortunately, the Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn are my country clubs today.
Right.
And
right.
Who knows? Maybe
That's
I wasn't fit to be in the country club anyway.
So, advice that so this is all great advice, I think, for young guys that are trying to start it over. So say to the 21-year-old, he's thinking about starting his first business. He's got that itch. He sees Grant Cardone having massive success. He sees all these different internet sensations that have had 9, 10, 11 figure exits early on, and they got that itch to go be an entrepreneur. What advice do you give to that guy?
I don't know that I would start my own business. I would probably go. I'd work for a guy like me or with me. I'd find somebody that's already rolling, dude. I'd find somebody that maybe has more courage and money than they have time. And I'd figure out how to extend their deal. Paul Allen was one of the richest people in the world. He worked for Bill Gates.
Right.
So you don't have to own the show, right? Like Charlie Munger's going to do just fine being a partner with Warren Buffett. So
right.
I think this idea of working for yourself is some kind of Jesus complex or something, like it's ridiculous. Most of these influencers, by the way, are going to end up with nothing.
Right.
Okay. Not all of them. There's some of them that are awesome and phenomenal and they're great and they're doing what they're using the social platforms the same way I am, but that's a rare exception. Most of them will end up with nothing because they're not building businesses; they're building personalities.
Right.
So
if I'm hearing you right, like go find somebody that's doing it. It's way easier to expand their empire than to build one from the foundation up by yourself.
Yeah, and don't go do what you want to do. Don't go do something that you're like. Everybody's like, go find the thing that you're passionate about. No, I'll go find something that works and get passionate about it.
Right.
So,
amen. What about sales? I mean, what's your obviously you're a big sales guy. What recommendation do you give to the young budding entrepreneur regarding sales?
I would tell you to become better at marketing than sales. Marketing makes the sales easier.
Get more eyeballs.
The guys that teach sales courses only haven't figured out the marketing. I'm talking about myself. That's why I taught sales hardcore, every angle sales, because for years, by the way, and if you look at what I was teaching then, you can also see the size of my business. It was tiny. Okay. They're companies that focus on sales are small companies typically. Okay. Companies that focus on marketing and they flip the model, Google, Facebook, Coca-Cola, these companies, man, they focus on scale and marketing and branding. And then the internet companies that don't worry about either one of those because they get their money from investors and they focus on technology or service. But they're talking about something, a scale, right? So if you're a small business owner, you need income right now. That's what a sale is. While you're getting that income, if your daddy's teaching you to save money, what's going to happen is you're going to make a sale, you're going to get some money, you're going to save it, and you shouldn't. It's a mistake. You should be using that money to market your business again. And so I believe that
invest it all back in.
Dude, all of it. And another 20%, 120%. You should lose money in the beginning.
Amen.
And you should live with no dough. And you should not change the quality of your living. Your company could be making $6 or $8, $10 million a year, and you would still be a broke dick. Okay? Because you're reinvesting your money in the business. And you don't have any money to buy a new car. This is a mistake these young guys make. They're like, oh, I'm making $6 million. No, dude, you just went and bought a car. You don't even need that car yet. You went and bought a watch. You're getting ahead of yourself. To guys like me, by the way, it's completely obvious what you did. You know,
Right.
And if you're trying to raise money for your company, don't show up in that fancy car with a watch on and your Gucci shoes. Nobody's impressed that has money. The only people that are impressed are people that don't have money.
That's right. That's right. So save the money, invest it right back in. Yeah, don't be spending on stupid luxuries. Buy real estate. Invest into your marketing. Invest in yourself. Just scale. Yeah, I mean, just invest, and then ultimately you'll be sitting with, as Mr. Cardone here. How much is your watch worth right now that you're sporting there?
Oh, this watch? I don't even know, man. I don't know. It's a ridiculous number. I know that. And it probably it's a stupid investment. It's completely ridiculous. 700 maybe. I don't even know. It's 40 year anniversary.
But ultimately, you weren't wearing that thing when you were 50 years old, right? Like you're wearing that now that you got
one Rolex. I was worth $8 or $10 million. I had one Rolex and a leased BMW. And I had a leased BMW that had 4 doors because I wanted to put customers in that car. I never rolled up in a little sports car trying to look all hot and sexy and cute. And I mean, I had some of that stuff, right? But it wasn't for that. Like, it was not. It was all about grow the business, grow your brand. Now, do I do the flashy stuff on Instagram? I sure do. Okay, but that's not who I am as an investor. And
that's getting you eyeballs.
Yeah, most of this stuff I regret, by the way. Like, you could take I got a Rolls Royce Cullinan out there. The first one I bought, we bought it for our conference to roll. Like, a lot of people don't know these backstories to what I do, right? They're like, Cardone's got a Rolls Royce. Okay, good. You know how many cars I could have compared like to some of these other cats have? I could have 60 cars.
Exactly.
I don't have a Ferrari. I don't have a, what are they called? The Lambo, okay? The Cullinan, the first Cullinan was bought. I could have bought the first Rolls Royce was given to me by Rolls Royce to be an ambassador for the company. I was paid to drive their car. Prior to that, I had the biggest car I had was a Mercedes on a lease, by the way.
So awesome.
The first Rolls Royce, by the way, Rolls Royce got me hooked on it because they gave me that car. The second Rolls I had was a Cullinan, but it was used at the Miami Marlins Stadium where we rolled it out on a stage in front of 35,000 people. It was wrapped in 10X. I'll get you the picture of it so you can add it to the
send that over.
Show. Maybe you get that. Yeah. And in the back seat, we lowered the back windows. Smoke was coming out of the windows. And the music beating on 35,000 people was nothing but a G thing, baby. And bang, Snoop
purely a tool.
Back seat of the car. We opened
so 100% a tool. You were using that thing as a tool.
It was a tool, dude. It was a marketing gimmick. Okay, he gets out, I get out. Okay, my wife's driving the car. She's in this hot little sexy limo chick outfit. And I'll send you the clip so you can add it, right? So
yeah.
I saw Snoop about, I don't know, 2.5 months ago. Man, you still got that Cullinan, man. That thing was sick. I said, no, bro. He's like, what'd you do with it? I said, I sold it the day after the event. Okay, wrote off $440,000. And then I got hooked on the car, so I still have one now, just to admit it, So I do stupid stuff, but I do it with passive income. This is what I always tell the young guys: if you can't buy 2 of them, don't buy 1 of them. Okay,
love it.
2, if you can't pay for it in cash, don't do it. 3, if it's earned income, don't do it. Only out of passive income. And 4, admit it's stupid. And don't try to
you got to know. Yeah, I love the view that you have on like a home, right? Like that your own personal home isn't an asset, right? Like, and that's what I always tell my wife. I'm like, look, this is a money pit. We're never going to look at this thing as an asset. Just understand that it's a money suck, and that's it. we ain't making decisions here to get our ROI, right?
Good,
Like
exactly.
everything outside of this is an ROI. Don't be thinking that the watch or the car or the house are somehow an ROI.
Yeah, that's right. There's no house. You guys that own houses, you don't need to convince me that it's a good investment because you can't, because it's a shit investment. And you can try to tell yourself it's an investment, but you don't. Why I don't even know why people are trying to convince me of that, because it's just a place to live. And you called it. What did you call it? A what?
I just said a money pit, man. I mean, it's
a
a
money
black
pit, dude.
hole.
It's a suck hole. It's a money pit. Okay.
Yeah,
After
absolutely.
12% in commissions, 6 going in, 6 going out, 2% a year in property taxes over 10 years. That's 20%. Interest rate at, let's say, 6 times 10 years is 60%. Even if you don't pay a mortgage, you still had the cost of money. You could have earned 6% on your money. Either way you cut it, dude, you're not going to make money on a single family home. And so I own 2 of them. Doesn't mean it's smart. What's his name? Jay-Z just bought a $200 million house down the street from me.
Oh, and it's probably a good portion of his net worth, which is crazy.
No, I think he's worth 2.5 big ones right now.
Oh, is he 2.5 now? Oh my goodness!
Yeah, dude,
never mind.
He's rolling. Bro.
Sorry, Jay-Z. My bad, Jay-Z.
He just paid $200 million for this Malibu house in Paradise Cove. He owns an $88 million house in Bel Air, 25 minutes away. So he's got $400 million. Just the property taxes, okay, are $20 million a year. Wow. In 10 years, he has to make $200 million just to pay the property
just to maintain it. Oh my gosh!
Well, bro, he's rolling so deep. He's rolling so deep it don't matter now.
Right. Dude, good for Jay-Z. He's crushing, man. Okay, so last question. Somebody's thinking about giving up, right? Calling it quits, whatever it is, whether it's calling quits in life, calling quits in
do it. Do it.
So, but you're saying give up?
Quit, bro. And you're going to find out this crazy thing. This crazy thing on this planet is there is no quit. Because even when you quit, you're going to look up 5 seconds from now and say,
I'm still here.
Now what?
Right.
All you do is punish yourself because you're going to quit and have to start. You're literally going to set yourself back. Right. So I believe the only way I fail is if I quit. And when I quit, I can't really quit. I just got to start over again.
Right. And there's nothing worse than starting over again.
I mean, it's terrible, dude. It's nasty.
Oh, no, I was with you, man. 2008, I started my very first business. In 2010, filed bankruptcy. It all went away, and I had to start from scratch. You know, and there is nothing worse. But as you said, man, like you have no choice. I mean, once you quit, you give up, you start over. You're just like, well, I got to keep going. So
if you've ever gone, if you've ever worked out and then had to go back and start back in the gym again, it's so hard.
Woo.
Getting back in there the first time and the second time, getting any kind of momentum going is like so hard. And so don't stop. Grab your momentum.
Yeah, man. Nothing worse than like going and doing bicep curls for the first time in 6 months, and then you just can't even like move. Oh my gosh, you're like hobbling around or can't even bend your arms. Yeah, nothing worse. I'm with you on that. Good stuff, Grant. So what's next? What's next for Mr. Grant Cardone? What are we found and what are we pushing to the next level? I know you said you were talking to Lena this morning. You got 10X Health. You got the real estate. What gets you out of bed? What's going to drive you?
Yeah. So the goals right now are we got $4 billion worth of real estate. I'm going to turn that into at least 40. And I'm going to raise $10 billion crowdfunding. We're going to get our online business that does $150 a year to I'm going to get it to $1 billion a year because I can help so many people.
Right.
And so we have about 350,000 customers. I want to get that to 35 million. And but next stop's 3 million, 3.5 million paying customers. So, I got a lot of work to do, bro. I'm going to take,
Dude, I love it.
yeah.
65 years old, not putting the not letting off the gas whatsoever, man. You're an inspiration to so many people of just keeping crushing it, just keep rocking, and no matter what, really, like not listening to the excuses, because we all have excuses, right? Like there's so many things that you could be playing in your head right now. I already have enough. I've already done enough. Nobody expects anything more out of me, right? I'm Grant freaking Cardone. I've got the 17 million followers on my social media platforms. Like I don't need to do anymore. I can just spend time doing X with my kids, with my wife, or whatever else. And so, man, just appreciate your motivation, your drive, your hunger. Like you push so many entrepreneurs like myself. There's so many people that are going to be listening to this that are going to be like, man, I love that drive. The fact that he's just never satisfied at any level and willing to keep pushing. So
I think
appreciate
more
your
people don't
drive.
like it than do like it, but I appreciate the fact that you do like it, man.
Grant, the haters are just louder, man, and everybody else is just cheering silently in the corner, and for all those haters, give them a message. What do you want to tell them? Give those
Yeah,
haters
well,
a
yeah.
message.
Look, for everybody that admires my hustle, then that means it's in you, or you couldn't see it. And for those that don't like it, like you don't like it, you found something wrong with something I said today. Whatever you don't like in me, it has to be in you. Otherwise, you couldn't see it. So, and I'm sorry that you quit on something that I'm doing. And that's your way to make sense of it, is to not like what I do. But look, I mean, haters are as valuable to me as the admirers, maybe even more so. So appreciate you guys hating on me. I appreciate the energy. Appreciate the free contribution. You make me better. You actually inspire me to greatness. You're fuel for me. So I just cannot thank you enough. You're like, it's just, goddamn,
Fuel to the fire,
I
baby.
wouldn't be who I am without you.
Amen, man. We love those haters. Well, thanks so much, Grant, for your time today. I know it's valuable. Until next time, thanks, guys.